Okay, so I got called an incel the other day during an online debate about men's rights. And it doesn't so much bother me that I got called an incel by a random stranger online, but it does bother me why. So we see incels in the news a lot, and incels almost become the word du jour and almost a fad or buzzword, if you will, that seems to get thrown out in all different kinds of directions. And I really don't like how it's often perceived or used as an insult, and I'm going to give you three reasons why. Number one, it vastly overgeneralizes a person that you've probably never met. So when you throw out the word incel to a stranger on the internet, it's completely meaningless because you have absolutely no idea who that person is or what their dating situation is like. And I see all the time people assume things about someone who they've never met on the internet because they say, oh, I'm a feminist, or oh, I'm a Trump supporter. And you'll see someone say, oh, I bet I can picture exactly what you look like. Well, actually, you can't, because you might be amazed at how many people who have the completely opposite viewpoints for you, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, feminist, MRA, whatever, who are almost exactly like you in almost every way. Same personality, same basic values, same lifestyle, and yet they have the total opposite political label. And that may sound impossible to you because you're encouraged and conditioned to think of the other side as the other side. But the reality is you have absolutely no idea if someone is an incel or not. And when you call someone an incel based on a label, all you're doing is overgeneralizing. And that just makes no sense. Number two is how the word incel now seems to not just mean people, but certain ideas. And this is going back to the debate I had that I was talking about in the beginning of the video. I was talking about boys' education from a men's rights point of view and the education gap. And someone commented, oh, that's an incel thing to say. Now, what does that mean exactly? And this happens a lot to MRAs. When you talk about the men's rights movement online, a lot of times people will call you an incel and they'll right away assume you're an incel. But what does it mean that talking about boys' education is an incel idea? Incel means involuntary celibate, right? So it means someone who wants to have a partner but can't or is unable to do so. What does that have to do with boys' education? Or any men's rights issue? What does it have to do with healthcare or the draft or taxes or Biden or Trump or any of that? None of that has anything to do with dating in any way, shape, or form. Yet I see a lot of people say, oh, that's the kind of thing an incel would say, even if it has nothing to do with dating or incels whatsoever. So really, what that's done is that's kind of personified this word to not just mean a person, but any idea I don't like. So what it really in effect means when someone says that's an incel thing to say has kind of become the new code for, oh, well, I don't agree with that, and that's an idea that I don't like. So therefore, I'm going to say that's an incel idea, which is just, stupid. And thirdly, so what if someone's an incel? I've said it before on this channel, I might be an incel. I might be a virgin. I might have 5 side chicks right now. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with politics, and it has nothing to do with a political opinion, unless it's specifically about incels. And that's going back to the first point. You have no idea if someone's an incel based on a label, unless that label is specifically incel. And you have no idea if something's an incel idea, unless they're literally saying, hey, I'm an incel. This is my idea. If you don't see that, then you can't say that's an incel person or an incel idea. But even if they did, even if someone was an incel, if they're talking about taxes or global warming, what's the relevance? It makes no difference. There's no connection there whatsoever. So the way I'm seeing incel thrown around and used at every opportunity, it's just a new buzzword and it's losing all meaning. And yes, there is a problem with some more toxic and extreme incel communities. So when you start throwing out the word incel at anybody who's a men's rights activist or just anybody you don't like, you're making the word lose its meaning. And overall, that's harmful in the narrative and the conversation. And furthermore to that point, why should someone be shamed for being an incel anyway? Like, I understand if it's like the more radical or extreme kind, but if it's just a guy who can't get a date or, has trouble dating or finding a girlfriend or losing his virginity, like, why does he deserve to be shamed or labeled for that? It's almost like a reverse slut shaming. It's shaming somebody for their dating preferences or lack thereof, or their dating prowess or lack thereof.
it's really none of your business.
And something else that kind of ties in to the point I was making about how you don't know what someone is like just because they're Republican or a feminist or whatever on the internet is your identity is not your social media life. And this is becoming a very big problem, in my opinion, where people's Reddit account or YouTube account or Twitter account and their social media presence becomes their identity and becomes their life. And it's almost like real life, like going to work, going outside, going out to buy food, has become like the secondary thing that they only do to support their real life, which is sitting at home on their computer and blogging or writing or making videos or doing all that kind of stuff. And it's not that social media doesn't have its use, and it's not that social media isn't useful to communicate and connect ideas, and it's not that there's anything wrong with being politically active, but there are so many people that get so obsessed and like they get so wound up in who they are online, who they are on Reddit, how much karma they have. Look, your Reddit karma is absolutely meaningless. It's worth nothing. Whether you have 100 karma or 1,000,000 karma or negative 1 billion karma, it's all worth the same. It's all worth $0.00 in any currency. When I hear people buy Reddit accounts for the karma, that's just like so unbelievably insane because it's not actually worth anything. And the problem with that is people get so obsessed with their Facebook likes or their Twitter likes or their YouTube subscribers or their Reddit karma that they stop saying what they actually want to say, and they instead start saying what they think will get them upvotes or likes. And over time, that starts replacing their sense of reality, and they get so dependent on that. And I've been guilty of this in the past, for sure. And sometimes I'm still guilty of this now, to be honest with you, where it starts warping your sense of reality, where you stop thinking about whether something is true or whether this is how you honestly feel, and instead you're thinking about, am I going to get likes on Facebook? Am I going to get nice comments? Are people going to upvote this and agree? And yes, there is a value in caring about what people think, but there's a problem when you care so much about what other people think that you stop caring what you think. And just again, I know I've said this before on videos in the past, the men's rights movement is not an incel movement. I know MRAs who are married with children. So, as for myself, I didn't even know what incel meant until I was accused of being one. So, anyway.
And to make it clear, I agree there's absolutely a problem with the more toxic and radical incel communities. But when you start accusing anybody who you don't agree with as being an incel, the word loses meaning, and you make an important conversation more difficult to have and less productive.